What's up, guys? Welcome to Wrestling for the Weekend, December 17th, 2023. I'm with Chris, Brendan, Blaze. How are you guys doing today?
What's up?
Yeah, I'm
chilling. Yeah, just chilling on this lovely Sunday afternoon. Back to our old time slot. Lots of wrestling to talk about. Chris, you were at two of the AEW/ROH shows this week, so we'll get a lot of your experience from that. So I guess we'll start with Dynamite. How was that?
Yeah, Dynamite was awesome. I was third row back, like kind of almost center with the ring, but not quite. So I had a great view of everything. Like no tall people in front of me or anything. It's so cramped on the floor though. That's like one thing I didn't notice when I had done it at like the Ring of Honor show last year, but I think it's because we were standing so much. And this one we were too for a lot of it, which was it's fine when you're standing, but oh my god, you sit down and it's like worse than shoulder to shoulder. You're like literally scrunched up. And
yeah,
the people beside me were not large people, so I'm like, oh my god, yeah.
It's a lot different than the rafters for sure. Up in the rafters.
So I was right. I mean, you guys saw me on the screen, I'm sure. So I was right behind those loud ass fans with that swerve sign that I'm pretty sure when I watched back, it was like too dark to read for most of the show anyway. You couldn't tell what it even said. It was just It was vaguely swerve. Oh my god, yeah, it was awesome. But yeah, so let me think back because I've done so much this week. What happened on Dynamite again? Swerve Moxley was there. Oh, it opened with that awesome Hangman, Roddy, and Joe stuff, and then the match. That was awesome.
Yeah. It started with the segment, and then that led right into the match, which was pretty good. The match was great as well.
Well, before let me talk about what they did. So there's no dark or anything anymore, obviously. So all they did before the show was fucking Brandon Cutler and Colt Cabana versus the Dark Order.
Again?
I assume, bro, is that just every week now? Because I haven't been watching the Being the Dark Order thing, really. But I assume they probably still show clips of these matches if they're still doing them. And I'm like, is it?
Yeah, they're still showing them.
It was fun though too. Like I said it in the chat while it was happening before the show started though. Like seeing Colt Cabana live makes you kind of like understand why people even like him, because I don't feel like he's that good when I see him on TV most of the time, you know.
But it's so
yeah, he's so funny with the crowd. Like Cutler's in there getting his ass beat, and he's kind of just like leaning up against the barricade, talking with fans, like casual chit chat. Like it's so funny.
Yeah, he's really good at that stuff for sure.
Yeah, like he was not made for a big company. He was made for a little small like crowd, you know, interaction indie show. Honestly,
I mean, he's perfect for dark, right?
Yeah, like exactly.
Like if there was ever a dark champion, he's like the kind of guy that'd be good
for that. Yeah, the whole time all I'm thinking is like, you know, CM Punk's run in the company died for this. While I'm watching this pre-show match.
Oh man, but I'm sure it was a lot of fun, right?
Yeah, it was. It was pretty short, like 5 minutes. And the Dark Order was actually still pretty over too. Like they didn't get super booed, even though they were obviously playing the heels like they were doing. But
which version of the Dark Order?
Oh, Silver and Reynolds. Uno was out there in a suit. They won too, by the way. Like with their, you know, they do that like rapid spam move like combination thing where it's like 8 moves in a row. They won with that for once.
Nice.
That's good. I mean, they should basically always be winning against that. Yeah, in my opinion, not a lot of people should be losing to Cutler and Cabana. Like maybe a few people, but I think even Dark Order is above them. You know. And then, we went right into the main show, which, like I said, opened with that awesome Hangman. It was Hangman Samoa Joe, I believe, to start. Right?
Yeah, Samoa Joe came out, cut like a small promo. You know, it wasn't even that long, but it was, bro, seeing him is so hype live, too. That's like
I know, dude.
And I've seen him first row for the Ring of Honor show last year, like up close. he did his little thing to Juice Robinson where he sets him in the chair in the corner outside the ring on my side. So like I was up close to Smojo, but it's still so like cool seeing him live. And then Hangman came out, that was super hype. I think because it was such a fast moving segment, no like bullshit basically. Everyone got their points across, even Roddy, kind of got his point across real quick. I love the callback to Ring of Honor where Hangman was his young boy.
Yeah.
I actually forgot about that angle, and that was before I stopped watching. I was still actually watching live. It was right at the end. But it was when Hangman first got called in, Roddy was in the stable of like more veteran ROH guys, and they had some young, I think Colby Carino was one in there too. And yeah, Hangman kind of broke out from that. So that was cool.
Awesome. Yeah, let me just bring up the card here as well for the old Dynamite.
It was crazy while you're bringing it up because it was like literally just match after match. The only other segment outside that opener was the Kenny and Jericho one, the tag title one, which
we'll talk about
later because like, so it's so sad now too because as bad as it was pointless now, which it's no one's fault. Like I'm not blaming anyone, but god damn, that just sucks,
It's really funny that happened. Like not funny, but like there was all this discourse about this tag team, and then it turns out like none of this discourse matters anyways whatsoever.
Yeah, exactly. And it sucks too. Like, I mean, I don't think anyone was like super hard on Kenny for like not being good in that promo. I did see some people like acted like they were. They were like, "Oh, I bet you guys feel bad now because you found out he was sick." I'm like, everyone was just like, "Oh, he had an off night." Like Kenny laughed it off in the promo. So obviously, it's he's like one of the best at that. If he botches a promo, he's gonna laugh it off, and he does not give a fuck.
I don't think Kenny thought he did good, so I don't think he would care about people being like that.
I do wonder if he was actually souped up on painkillers, like I've seen some people joke about, because that is a possibility. Because you've seen the clip of him dancing to Judas, or you probably saw it on your fight.
I did. I saw it
live. Yeah, that shit killed me, but there was a good chance he may have been on some.
He did look pretty out of it.
Yeah,
like we were saying he looked disinterested, but maybe being a little bit loopy makes sense. I feel bad.
But it's so funny too, because I don't know if it was just because I was there live, but I did not like find it that it was a disaster of a promo. Don't get me wrong, but that like made it so funny in the way that especially Kenny played it off like how bad it was. Ricky too was playing it off how bad it and Bill was like subtly doing it too. Like you could tell anytime a line like bomb, he didn't say anything, but oh my god, his face. But Jericho was the only one still trying to take it seriously and just fucking up more. I feel like.
I think that's why Jericho looked the worst out of it because he looked like he was trying the most but still bombing.
But like, I generally love that I got to see that train wreck live. Like, it was so entertaining.
I mean, the thing too is that like, the crowd, you guys are still really into the segment, even though it sucked ass. Yeah. So like. It made it at least tolerable watching it live. Like I'm sure watching it back, it'd be like, "Oh my god, this is so bad." But like watching it live, like I can't believe you guys even like sang along or went along with the Big Billy Starks thing.
Honestly, I didn't, and that's the arena's mic'd really well. Like at least from where I was sitting, it did not seem like a ton of people were standing there. But that's another thing I've kind of noticed too. When you're on the floor, you don't hear the chants as well. Like I knew the crowd was loud because I could hear it still, but it was a lot louder than I expected when I watched it back. Where when I'm in the stands,
you hear it a lot more.
It feels that loud, yeah. And it was even worse in Ring of Honor. I'll get to because I was behind the announce table basically, and the hard cam. Well, I guess it wasn't the hard cam side because the hard cam was facing the stage. But what would have been the normal hard cam side, the other side where there wasn't a ton of fans. There was like no one there. They tarped it off, because there was only like I think they did get 3,000 at the end, but it wasn't it wasn't like a super full building. The building seats like 6-7. But so that was weird because I was only hearing chants on the right side, and I'm like I couldn't tell how loud the crowd was at times. And I watch it back, and they are, but it's because there was nothing on the left side of me. It was very weird. Like I'd say,
yeah.
But back to that segment real quick, and we can get to the rest of the matches. Then I did think Bill and Ricky were actually fine in it. I thought Ricky, especially his last one, which I wish just ended it, but Kenny got like one more line in there. That was really good.
Jericho kept
Oh yeah, that's right. It was Jericho.
Of course, always is.
Yeah, but Ricky's last part was really good. Some of his earlier stuff was also but like I did think it was funny. He made fun of Jericho's outfit, then Jericho made fun of his outfit, and yes, Jericho's was way worse. Ricky's dig at Jericho's outfit was good, but he was like, "Oh, you're gonna talk about my clothes?" I was like, "Bro, you just did that too." Like, but yeah, his last
Jericho
segment
was
was
off,
fun. And
man.
Bill was hilarious, bro. Bill is hilarious in every segment he's been in since like he went to TNA again. Like other than when he was super serious for the TNA run, but when he started was just being loose. Oh my god, that dude's so funny.
He's great. I don't know. I thought he came off the best out of the whole segment.
He came off the best in this tag run, honestly, and I don't think anyone was that excited when it first happened. Because it's like, they already tried the pairing Bill with someone else. It's like a new one. Oh, okay, let's see if this one works this time, I guess, was kind of the big thing. But oh my god, it's worked like really well. And it's because he's gotten some promo time, which is helpful.
Yeah, he's actually allowed to talk, which is great because he's actually pretty good at talking. Shockingly. Because that's not something I would have told you like when he was in WWE. He was really bad at talking back then. Like really bad. But now he's comes off really naturally. He's really funny, like you said. Like his facial expressions are hilarious.
Yeah. But the only line I probably laughed at was the Enzo line, and that wasn't even that good either.
I can't believe like Jericho kept his best line first, and then his lines kept getting worse and worse. Like the absolute assholes was a decent enough line.
He got desperate.
And then it got worse, and then he got even worse. And like just fucking Ricky Starks like, well, that landed flat. Like, jeez.
And Jericho was even like, yeah, it kind of did.
Yeah, he's like that. Like, yeah, the crowd sang. It almost felt like they did the chant out of pity for Jericho.
It was after they didn't pop for it. I'm not going to say we because I didn't do any of this. But
you're right. It was after
they did it. They didn't pop. Ricky says that fell flat. Jericho said, yeah, it kind of did. And then they started a chant.
Oh, man. AEW crowds are funny.
Let's move on to the actual
there's a few.
Because that was basically the whole rest of the show. Like,
everything
besides some backstage. Yeah.
Man, after the Hangman Page match, which was good, but there's not much to talk about other than Hangman whooped his ass. And I mean, there was some really good spots. Like, Roderick looked awesome, but like, is that really shocking? Not really. Like Roderick's strong as a good wrestler. The fucking next was Andrade Brody King, which was holy crap, man! This match,
the finish of that one, like terrified me. It was on my side, like the turnbuckle closest to me, bro. Brody landed hard.
Man, that's the exposed turnbuckle DDT top rope thing, right?
Yeah, I mean, I think his head was protected fine. I think Andrade's arm is actually what got fucking killed, honestly. But he just like after it though, like it's like he was dead weight. Like I thought he was knocked out for a second, but it was just the way he sold it.
Man, like so, like Andrade went over, but like, and we'll talk about Collision too, where Brody lost again. But in both those losses, like he's looked like an absolute monster. Like you didn't get to watch Collision, but it took 4 or 5 psycho knees to put him away on Collision because he kicked out at one of the first one. It was pretty crazy. But this match, I thought like was Andrade's best match of the tournament as well. He was really good.
I think Andrade has kind of like topped himself each tournament match. I would say.
Yeah, I'd say
like
so.
Each one, I don't know, it might be like one that may have been about the same or something, but yeah, it just seems like way to me. Like I've gotten progressively hyped for like Andrade matches as a tournament.
Yeah, he's been really good.
The last one has been better and better.
Yeah, really good chemistry.
Okay, real quick though.
Yeah.
Like, I think I saw you talk about it yesterday. Anyway, I was barely on, but did you see CJ Perry's fucking finger? Like,
what happened to it?
So she got an infection, apparently. I don't know, maybe while she was in Mexico for Andrade CMLL thing, or just maybe before or something. I think she actually missed the CMLL thing.
She did.
Obviously, she missed Collision. But she posted a picture. She said her finger got infected and it spread up her arm. Like her arm, it was like up, like kind of by her bicep. It was red. Like it looked like a minor, but definitely like big, like rash. Like it covered a lot of her arm. But her finger was just like 3 times the size the thing was supposed to be, and purple, bro. Like
no.
it did not look good. Like I think she's I think they're not worried or anything, but oh my god, I would have been when I saw that picture.
Fuck.
Yeah, she
That's
posted
not
it,
good.
but I wouldn't recommend going to seek it out because it looked bad.
Oh, well, no. I think
not-
I got, I know that you've described it. I think I'm good, but that's
Yeah.
gross. Yeah, she did post something that she had to miss CMLL and Collision. So I think Andrade won both those matches anyways, so that's good for him.
Yeah.
But this match, yeah, like there was a spot where Brody, he did it again on Collision to Danielson, but the flying crossbody on the guardrail to the seated opponent, and it's just like it's like a giant fridge being launched at you at like full speed.
Like,
It's
I don't know, how
crazy.
do you prepare for it? You just have to sit there and take it. I hope he doesn't kill you.
Yeah.
I don't know how they do that spot without like it hurting. I mean, obviously everything hurts, but
Yeah, you just got to make sure it's just the flat contact. Don't bend any bones.
but like, and just the chopping too. The chopping in these matches. This whole tournament has just been Chop City.
Andrade's chest was looking pretty sick by the end of this one.
It was looking pretty hamburger meaty for sure.
Yeah, I'm sure Brody's would have been too if the tattoos weren't like covering some of it.
Yeah, because I mean, like Andrade doesn't fuck around, and he's
Andrade might chop harder than anyone else in the tournament.
Yeah, well, I would say it would probably be between him and Jay White.
Yeah,
they both have those
Jay
like
White
gunshot type.
I wonder if he's that like if it's that hard, or I feel like he's just mastered the way to do it to make the loudest sound too.
Yeah,
they look different when he throws them too. Like they look so much better.
He does more like that like
into.
Jay does those like I would say a very classic like knife edge chop where he like makes his hand like really small, whereas like Eddie, for example,
do that to my little brother.
Yeah, and Eddie does the like the full on like open hand backhand kind of thing, which is a bit different. There's some of the guys do it more like an overhead. There's a couple of different ones, but there's a lot of chopping in this tournament. Either way, Andrade, I like his story in this tournament. I like his story about he's basically doing whatever it takes to win. And unfortunately,
but like honorably, he's not like being a heel about it. He's just fighting very brutally.
That's right. That's right.
Like he checked on Danielson. I think he may have even like halfway checked on Brody or something. He wasn't,
really I think he did. Monster, I think he shook his hand or something.
Yeah, something like
I remember. But we'll like bring it into Collision. Unfortunately, you didn't see this, but like, and then this whole thing about the turnbuckle ended up costing him on Collision as well. He did so basically he took off 2 of them, and then Danielson, or sorry, it wasn't against Danielson, it was against Claudio, right? Yeah. So Claudio pushed him, so he hurt his leg falling like down onto the metal part, and then like Claudio
exposed himself. Yeah.
And then Claudio kneed him in the fucking testicles.
Oh, God.
like so hard, and then pinned him. After a second, he didn't even hit his full finish, just another neutralizer.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Yeah, so like it came back to bite him, and the whole him hurting Danielson kind of like Claudio kind of got his back and got his back boy for his boy. So that's probably pretty cool. I don't know. I thought that was really fun.
Was it my favorite part of that was the King of the Hill reference, the word on commentary.
Who said that? Was it Nigel? Or was it? No, it was probably Kevin Kelly. That sounds like a Kevin Kelly move.
I can't see Nigel watching King of the Hill. Honestly.
Exactly, and Kevin Kelly.
He watches a lot of weird shit, but
he did the that's my purse thing, right?
He's like, it was a that's my purse. I don't know you. I was like, this sounds
like a Kevin Kelly thing.
Yeah. I kicked him right in the ball sack. It was great. But Brody, unfortunately, like he started hot, but he's a little bit low. We'll go through we'll look at the standings after. This is like the kiddie show this time. Yeah. All the cats today. What else we got next? We had the shitty promo, which we already talked about.
Yeah.
We got a promo with the Von Erichs teaming up with Orange Cassidy on Rampage.
I believe all the Dynamite like promos definitely aired too live for us. Sometimes that's not completely the case.
Well, that's good that
there
it
was
did.
no breaks. Collision had a few extra, but not a lot. So,
Okay.
but it was just pre-tape stuff. Like they showed like some of the comments of the people that after the Continental Classic matches. So yeah, obviously we didn't see that there. Right after it happened.
You can sit there, Dave.
Wardlow video packaged where he's still talking.
Yeah, he called himself an Archangel Michael.
That's right, the Archangel Michael. It was a pretty good promo.
I don't know biblical like that biblical story that well. I know like the Jesus-y like time, that those stories, but I don't know. That's a little more back in history.
I don't think that Archangel Michael is like that nice. I'll just say that.
No,
I don't think
sure.
he's very nice.
That's why he's I don't know, but yeah, I don't know. I thought the promo was actually good though. Like I kind of clouded it a little.
Yeah, it was good.
No, it was good. It's just like holy shit, that's like it seemed intense when he called himself an
Archangel. He's going hard all of a sudden. Very Miro like promo.
Yeah. Oh my god! Imagine if they just became a tag team. Trying to resolve both their booking by just sticking them together and squashing them.
I wouldn't hate it. I mean, that'd be like a very like Twin Towers kind of tag team. I guess neither of them are that tall, but they're huge, so it works. We had next Riho against Soho with Tony Storm on commentary, which was you didn't get to hear this, obviously, Chris.
I watched back though. I did watch the show back.
She was so fucking funny, man. My God.
Yeah.
That's not Ruby has green hair.
Like,
she's convinced.
She's like, this is not Ruby.
It's a doppelganger of some sort.
Like they didn't have hair dye in the 50s anyway.
No way, man. No way. Yeah, so this.
I think at one point she's like, well, did she get a wig?
I did think from the match itself, I remember Riho being really good at this. She was pretty over too. Ruby was Ruby. She was fine.
The fucking people that were sitting in front of me, though, they were just like trying to like boo Rio like the whole time. It was so annoying, but it didn't work. Obviously, the rest of the crowd was
good.
Them. They did the same thing with Moxley and Hangman, but that was more because for like Swerve though. It was like they were fucking with Hangman because they had their Swerve stuff, and Moxley was just against Swerve.
Were they the one
time they were most annoying?
Were they the ones with the Swerve sign that like
Hangman always flipping off everyone? Yeah. That was
a great moment.
Really good on screen, and Hangman because I was basically right behind them, so like. Bro, Heyman's face looks scary. Like he looked like he was about to jump the rail at these guys.
He sold that really well, and I don't know.
Yeah.
I really like this like character development from Hangman. He's looking pretty angry lately.
Because what actually happened for that spot too? Like I don't think this part came across on screen, and it may not have even been. He may not even know, but they yelled something at him. I don't remember what, but it's like, "Oh, fuck you, Hangman!" Or they said, I think they may have said something about Swerve, and that's Hangman kind of like jerked at it and saw the sign and that stare. Yeah. It was too just real quick because I'll probably forget about it when we actually get to Rampage. But during the Don Callis family squash on Rampage, there were fans sitting in front of me, not the same guys though, that were just like chanting "fuck you, Callis" and everything. That probably came across on screen. You heard it, but like. The first time they did it, he jerked his head and just looked straight at him, and he was just talking shit to him for like a good 30 seconds till the match ended. And then he was like, sorry, I have to go to work now because I'm actually successful or something. It was awesome. I love when they interact with like the specific fans trolling them. That's the best part about being close.
That was so good. Yeah, and you're right. Like the Hangman stuff came off so well on TV. Like he looked so angry, and like the commentary caught it and talked about it. They can use this like specific clip, like months from now, once they start, whenever they want to rekindle that feud, which who knows when it's going to be? It could be like in a few weeks. It could be in a few months. We don't know. The match was good. Riho obviously won as she should. That's going to lead to another match next week between Riho and Saraya. I'm not sure why Saraya is getting a number one contenders match, but I don't really care because like whatever she beat Ruby, so obviously she just has to get through her.
Yeah. Well, I mean, like, so from a kayfabe standpoint, why it's number one contenders doesn't really matter. Other than you can just be like, Saraya is, was champion semi recently, but she hasn't been winning much either. But it does make sense from like Rio's, like if they would have made it something like Rio requested it because she's still getting revenge because the Outcast, took her out months ago.
Yeah.
That would make sense perfectly. She just kind of inserted herself into this. That's also why she's still going at Tony. It's kind of bringing the Outcast back into the Tony story, like we saw with Tony and Ruby being interacting a little more because of this. So that part's fine with me. I like that part. But yeah, just like this is like a little this is such a little thing to just make that kayfabe slightly better. Why it would be number one contenders? Like
yeah, I would have
make it like a Ruby request it kind of thing, because. Or Soraya's like, I'm not fighting you unless you want to put your number one contendership on the line. Like, say she's already named it.
Sure, yeah, they could do that.
Because Rio got the wins. But yeah,
they could just say that both want they both want to be next that want to get a piece of Tony, right?
Yeah, what's that place?
So yeah.
Like I said on Twitter, though, one thing I'm fine with, reason fine with, at least it's someone it gives Rio someone to pin that, better than someone else getting pinned, I guess. Kind of.
True.
That's true because it's like a name for sure. Still, like she did win the title in a big moment this year. Like regardless of how the booking was after, like I think it'll still come off as a big win for Riho. So yeah, that part's fine.
Yeah. Soraya is definitely a more credible win than Ruby. Like, Ruby is like all respect to Ruby.
I'm really interested in the match though because I feel like Soraya has not really faced like someone like Riho, like a real high speed, small person since she came.
It could be. It could come off really well.
Yeah. She's faced like bigger like kind of powerhouses and like I guess like normal people like Britt, like normal average style wrestlers,
Yeah, it could end up being pretty good, honestly. She could use her size a little bit more.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's kind of what I hope for.
She has a good big boot and stuff, right?
Like just start slamming her and stuff, slam Rio.
Yeah, I mean, Riho's gonna sell like crazy, so it's gonna be good.
Yeah.
But yeah, the match was good. The story continues on. No problem with any of this. It's good stuff.
Mariah May still has not had a match either yet, right? Did they do anything with that, like on Collision? Like, because she keeps saying like it's coming soon. I'm just curious.
So yes. So on Collision, after the women's street fight, which fucking ruled, by the way, awesome. They had an interview with Tony and Mariah May, both of them. And Mariah was talking about her match, and then she's asking Tony if she could mentor her or if she could like help her with this or help her with that. And basically, Tony's just being a big bitch and be like, "I'm way too busy, but next time I have a seminar, you'll be the first to
know." Okay.
So they still have not said who it's gonna be, but they're continuing to tease it. So they're
I just kind of thought it'd be on Rampage at some point, like
at this point,
fine for that.
I have a feeling it might just be on World's End, honestly.
My God.
Going.
Yeah,
I kind of have that feeling that it might literally just be an excuse to have 2 or 3 women's matches at World's End. Because
I wouldn't mind it.
Might actually wind up being with Tony the way Tony's treating her, though. I don't know.
Yeah,
I don't know because like right now it's looking, and I mean we're a bit far ahead, but it's kind of looking like it's gonna be Riho Tony at World's End for sure.
I think so, yeah.
Probably Julia against Abaddon. And then possibly a Mariah May match as well. Possibly.
And you could definitely throw in like the TBS title stuff. That's it's mostly in Collision, like the Willow, Mercedes Works, something. Anything to do with that could be thrown into. Maybe even just the buy-in stuff. But yeah, there's a lot of.
Well, it might. You know matches. What? It might end up being another 4-way.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised about that.
They could do something like Abaddon, Julia, Sky Blue, and Thunder Rosa, for example.
Oh yeah, that's true too.
So she's just coming back, so I could see that happening as well. What else did we have next here?
I believe next was the Rush and Jay Lethal match, right?
It was. Yeah, not much to talk about there. Fucking Lethal got squashed straight up.
Yeah, he was so sad after too. I thought Jarrett was about to just smack him with the guitar right then.
I thought so too.
I thought they kind of consoled him. They were like, "Ah, man," I was like, oh, "Okay, they're friends."
He's back. Yeah, we had a feeling they were because they were like on the ramp for a while, right? So I thought they maybe take a turn. I do think this is going to lead to Jay turning face and leaving them, though.
Yeah, because there was a segment on Rampage actually with him and Mark Briscoe that was one of the ones that didn't air for us because they probably taped it, as they were actually taping the rest of Rampage. But yeah, where Mark and Jay and the rest were there too, but then Mark and Jay talk a little by themselves because I think they have their match still to come. I don't think they've faced yet
Right.
in the Continental
No,
Classic.
they haven't.
And yeah, basically Mark was like, we got nothing to fight for really, but nothing to lose either. And they were like, it's back 20 years ago, just like when we were fighting, in the high school gyms or stuff like that. And basically like Jay was like, Jay Lethal was like, all right, yeah, let's go kill it, So it was something like that.
It makes sense because that's an angle they've ran with Mark and Jay before, where Mark was like, "Bro, what are you doing with these losers, man? This isn't."
It's kind of a continuation, yeah, because they did the whole farm thing too. Remember that skit?
Yeah, exactly. And that angle continued along the way with Kingston and Jay when they had their mini feud. Kingston was like, "Bro, you used to be something, and now you're just like clowning around with these guys."
Yeah, exactly.
And now you're a loser.
Yeah, I think if that angle like actually picks up and does some good stuff coming out of the tournament, especially out of the Mark and Jay Lethal match coming up, I think that's the perfect way to use a tournament for like a more or less like a side, kind of minor story. Because obviously they got 0 fucking points. They haven't got got to win. They're not players in the tournament, but it's not pointless because as long as if good stuff's still coming out of it, that's the best way to. That's what like Gato during like the height of the G1 when it was like the best thing in wrestling was so good.
All these stories, yeah.
Yeah, and every match like kind of halfway mattered at least, even the really low card ones when they had to match up those guys.
Yeah, because I could see something like Mark winning that match in a banger.
He definitely should.
And then Mark goes off one tunnel and like Jay's buddies come out and he like instead of going out with them, he like says no and like leaves with Jay or with Mark instead, and they could like kind of be friends again. I think that's probably that would be a nice moment. Like you said, another story. They don't have to do it here. They could it could lead to that later on too. But I do think that's. I hope they go through with that because that would be a good story to tell. Let's see what's next. The next was the main event already.
No. What about there was Jay Lethal, right? Or Jay
Oh,
White
my bad. There was Jay White, Mark Briscoe.
They squeezed that in somehow,
which was really good too, but like not that long. And Jay, unfortunately, was just too much. But it was a really good match.
It was crazy how hot it started too. That's how I knew they weren't going to go too long because Mark Briscoe hit the freaking froggy elbow like within a minute, and Jay was able to roll outside. And I was like, "Oh my god, what if he just won?"
Yeah, that's right. That's right. He hit the froggy bow within a minute, and then he run away. And then like Jay had to find a way to kind of like slow shit down because he was getting overwhelmed by Mark's crazy energy. He's Mark's I know he hasn't won a match, but I feel like every match he's been in has been really fucking good. Like none of there's really been any bad matches in this tournament outside maybe the match. Like the match we just talked about before that was a squash. He got choked out, so there wasn't much there. But other than that, man, like it's been some good stuff. And Mark's been super over too. So I don't know how that came off live, but
that was great. The crowd was super hyped for Mark Briscoe, especially for both shows I went to too. Especially obviously even Final Battle more so, but yeah, it was like I don't know. I feel like it was so weird too in the crowd. It was almost like I feel like there was a lot of people that genuinely thought he could have the upset just because like I think most people know like Jay White's probably not making the semifinals. I don't even know if he technically still can.
Yep.
With Moxley winning.
Let me see.
Yeah. But it's like so obviously going to be swerving Moxley, and it should. So I think everyone's like, okay, Mark could definitely get this upset, like, and I feel like a lot of people really believed until he finally hit that Blade Runner. No one believed Mark was actually kicking out at that point, but they thought he might reverse, up until then.
I'm trying to think how it's possible for Jay to make it in.
Also, what's kind of weird to me too, I realized after a while, like after we've been talking about it for a while, even they should have done the semifinals where it's not even the same blocks, like how New Japan did the tag league.
The cross stuff.
So it's like top of Gold League faces second in blue, and vice versa. That way you're not guaranteed one rematch. Like you could still potentially get one in the finals, which would be a hype one at that, instead of a 2 for sure rematches in semifinals. But I think the way they're going to go with the rematches will be fine anyway, because I think they're going to be the good rematches we want to see.
Yes.
But yeah, it's just I didn't realize that, I think, until the tag league did it, when I didn't think they were going to, and threw me off because it was the opposite matchups than I was expecting in the semis. And I was like,
Yeah.
why didn't Tony do that?
Maybe they'll do that in the future.
I think that's my preferred way if you're gonna
Me
do a
too.
semifinals and whatever, a round robin.
I think ideally, if they had done more planning for this, like, I don't know if it'll be too long on TV to go like 8 deep, but like I think 16 would be perfect. And then yeah, you can do just 2.
Just don't do it like how TNA used to when they had their Bound for Glory series, which was a legit round robin tournament. But they ran half the fucking matches on house shows, and the schedule
don't
was
do that.
made up as you go. They'd just be like, so and so, scored this win over this person last week, and I'm like, why has he had 5 matches and this other guy only had 1?
Yeah, no, don't do that. It wasn't
never
too bad.
keep up with like the scores because someone would obviously have a lot of points, but it's like, oh, they've had so many more matches, so that's why. And yeah, it was so bad.
No, they've done, even though like some people were a bit ahead, they've done a good job of not getting too far ahead of this one where it was like not too complicated.
Yeah,
they've caught up now, I think, so it's fine.
Well, I have the standings right now. Yeah, the Blue League, which we'll talk about more later. Yeah, they're pretty close, other than Daniel Garcia, obviously. But the Gold League, yeah, I mean, it's like Rush is out because he's 2-2. I don't think he has no chance left because there's only 1 match left for each, right?
Only 1. I think Switchblade's the only one who still has a chance to get in.
Him and Swerve are both 3-1, and Moxley's obviously 4-0. So,
well, that's how.
Yeah,
I guess
and Jay White has to
technically still be in it.
Yeah, but who's Jay White facing? Moxley,
right? Moxley.
Yeah, so if he gets a win over Moxley, it would be like a 3-way tie, wouldn't it? Because Swerve beat Jay.
It wouldn't be a 3-way tie because Swerve
still has a match.
Swerve still has a match, and if Swerve wins, he's on a.
No, okay.
Hold on.
Let's take a minute. Moxley would be 4-1 with a loss to Jay White.
Yes.
Jay White would be 4-1 with a loss to Swerve. Swerve would be 4-1 with a loss to Moxley. That's a perfect 3-way tie, bro.
Who does Swerve have to beat?
Swerve, I believe, is against Rush. No, I feel like
he's already beaten Rush.
Yeah, he has to be because it's Jay Lethal, Mark Briscoe, right? I have the Dynamite card. I had the Dynamite next week.
It has to be. You're right.
Second. Yeah. Yeah, here it is.
I still think that's what's happening. I think the 3-way.
Yeah, Swerve versus Rush. So it's a 3-way tie if Swerve and Jay White win.
I think that's what's happening.
The fuck do we do in that? There's no precedent.
Do it as a freaking triple threat for the semifinal.
Yeah, that's what I would. Yeah. If you're really just do a triple threat.
Jesus, that'd be a good match though.
But how do you do the triple threat though? Do you do it elimination or do you do it just no winner take all, 1 pin?
Personally, I always prefer elimination for multi-man matches. As long as I mean, like if you get to like 6, like that Ring of Honor one, that might need to be more of a special occasion. But 3 and 4, I just like elimination better. It's like the breaking up the pins sometimes is like to me. Like
me too, but in this case, you could protect whoever's losing.
Yeah, exactly. Like, but
because I feel like I feel like this is how they get Moxley to like. I don't know. It's hard to tell. It's hard to tell because there's so many little annoying things on the gold side, right?
Mm-hmm.
And the blue side, honestly, there's a few things. So on the gold side, there's the Moxley factor. They have to keep Moxley strong because he has a match at Wrestle Kingdom. They also have to keep Moxley strong because it's fucking John Moxley. And he's just the ace of the company right now. So regardless, you have to protect him. Then you've got Swerve, who also needs to be protected because he's obviously getting a mega push right now. Then you have Switch, who kind of needs to be protected as well because he just lost to MJF. So that's pretty fucking interesting on that side.
My prediction, though, is Moxley just beats Jay White. Swerve wins. Swerve beats Moxley. I think that's the simplest path and probably what they go with. This is just like from doing this in the G1 and Tag League and stuff like every year. It's like they'll be like, oh my god, if these 2 teams wins, it'll be this fucked
unprecedented,
scenario. And it never happens. It's always the obvious one. Oh, the team with the most points beat this team that had less points, just like this we thought, and the cool
Gino
scenario
loves that
doesn't happen.
shit. He's like, oh, this crazy scenario can happen, guys. Lol, just kidding. House
Chris
of Torture
Charlton
wins.
will have a Twitter thread going for like 2 hours explaining the scenarios, and the most obvious basic one happens instead.
They're such trolls. I hate them so
Yeah.
much. Yeah, you're right though. Gino, I don't know how Tony's gonna do it, but Gino, if Gino was booking this, that's exactly what would happen. It would just be Moxley going and winning the rest of the block and then losing to Swerve. Because he's not
exactly.
he should not beat Swerve twice in a row. He just shouldn't.
But then we might as well just go and talk about the Blue League.
Yeah, let's do it.
Everyone's caught up now, so everyone only has one match
Correct.
left.
So last week.
So those 3 matches are Claudio Danielson, Brody King, Daniel Garcia, Garcia is the one that's 100% out, and Andrade versus Eddie Kingston. But this one I think is going to be a lot harder because they have more losses to decide the tie breaks. That's just going to be so much more open. So I think Eddie's going to beat Andrade for sure, which will put them both at 3-2. I think that's the obvious story there.
And then Eddie has a tiebreaker.
Yeah, against Andrade. And then Danielson's against Claudio. I don't know. I think Danielson could just win. And if that makes it where I think Eddie would then have the tiebreaker to get second on everyone. So
that's what's happening.
That's a likely
I'm
scenario.
like 99% sure it's going to be Danielson Kingston in the final.
Yeah, because if Claudio wins, then it would be like a 3-way tie between those 3. So
Claudio's
Danielson's just going to win. And obviously Garcia's out. Brody will beat him, but I think he's 3-2. But Eddie has the tie. No, Eddie wouldn't have the tiebreaker actually. But I don't know. That's a weird one actually. I don't know. Maybe Garcia could just upset Brody and problem solve. He gets one win. Yeah,
I think that's where Garcia gets his win.
I think we've solved it. Yeah.
Yeah. No. I think that's exactly what it is. Because I think the most logical thing
we have spoiled the rest of the tournament. It's easy when you get to the last week, but
I think that's exactly it. I think it's going to be Kingston and Danielson. Andrade will just miss out because he lost to Claudio, and then he'll probably play up his injuries this week.
Yep.
And I think Kingston's going to be Danielson.
Yeah. What I don't I don't know who's. The finals are so weird. So I think Eddie Kingston versus Swerve Strickland is the weirdest finals to do. I don't think they're gonna do that, but that's kind of what I feel like. I feel like that's who should win both semis, but I don't feel like that should be the finals. Does that make sense? Because that's fucking weird, right?
I don't think Swerve should win the tournament. I know that's unpopular.
And if he gets to the finals against Eddie, I feel like he should though. That's the thing.
So he shouldn't get to the finals.
But he should not lose to Moxley twice in a row. I think that would be then
it has to be switch.
Basically, Moxley and Swerve the first match. I said it before it happened. Whoever wins that match is losing the semifinals, and I still think that's true. So I'm operating my head that Swerve's 100% getting this. Because he should not lose to Moxley twice in a row like that. I think that would be really stupid. When he could have gotten a free protected win. Yeah,
but that's why they do the 3-way, and Switchblade can do the Switchblade thing. He's so good at it. He's gonna come in at the very last second. He's gonna hit fucking Blade Runner on whoever just hit their finisher, and he's gonna steal the fucking win.
Another thing too is Moxley. If it ends up being Eddie Kingston and Bryan Danielson on the one side, which it probably will, I'm more certain about that than the other side. Moxley has a story of both, an easy story for a great pay-per-view match with both. So that's why I feel like Moxley, he might win, even though I think that's so stupid that Swerve lost the first match in that case. When they could have just had him win. Yeah.
You have a good point, and that point is that what do we think is the best match for the pay-per-view that's going to sell tickets? And if you're looking at it from that point of view, then Moxley has to be in the match.
I think Eddie Kingston beating Jon Moxley for the finals of the tournament is actually the best story for the tournament, too.
In New York, too?
Yeah,
that's. I know it's not honestly, Yonkers, but
I don't know. I don't know what to do with Swerve. Maybe you can do something with Hangman. Maybe I did actually one theory I like that I heard someone say. I think it was kind of like a conglomeration of other theories. People were kind of just talking it out, and this came through on a podcast with comments and stuff. Was because they were trying to, obviously the no interference thing. And they were like, okay, what if Hangman is just fuck it, does the interference and gets fired, in storyline?
Yeah.
That'd be fucking awesome, honestly.
They
you can
haven't
work
done a
that.
fired storyline in AEW
Yeah,
ever.
and it's just like Swerve. Basically, you could do the whole cliche of Swerve, like basically says, okay, you sanctioned this fight, Tony. I have to fight this guy. Blah blah blah. So you hire him back. That kind of thing. They've done it a million times. It's not my favorite, but it's done so often. It's just like a gimme. But,
so regarding Swerve, I can tell you what he's going to do next.
What?
He's going to fight Keith Lee. Keith Lee
really?
he cut a promo.
Well, Collision?
I don't know when, but he.
Oh, okay.
Like Keith Lee had a promo or got interviewed by Lexi Nair and said like about him, and he was like, "Oh yeah, the fight I had against the guy he just beat at Final Battle,
Shane Taylor."
Yeah, Shane Taylor. He's like, that wasn't him, and then he told after Brian Cage had a fight on Collision, and Keith Lee confronted him, and he's like, "Tell your boy I'm coming for him soon."
That makes sense. They never had their one-on-one match.
Cool off. So I think I think Keith Lee's gonna beat up Brian Cage next, and then he's finally gonna beat Swerve. So maybe Keith Lee calls Swerve. I don't know.
That's very un-Keith Lee like, but okay, that makes me feel better then, because like Swerve already has something built in to do after. Yes. So yeah, I think I'm pretty much convinced myself Moxley's making the finals.
Hold on, y'all, real quick. Gotta check something.
But then it's like, Moxley Kingston is awesome. Moxley Danielson's obviously. Fuck.
You could do Swerve versus Keith Lee at the pay-per-view, because that's the whole thing is I'm trying to fit in these people on the pay-per-view. So and like Moxley, I guess if he doesn't make it, he could do like some BCC, like another 6-man or something, stuff like that. But yeah, I don't know. I just feel like that's Moxley's spot on the pay-per-view. That just makes the most sense.
It's either that or if he loses out, he'll just be in some sort of tag team thing.
Yeah, which is whatever. He wrestles so much. It's not like a big deal if he doesn't have a big singles match on a pay-per-view, So
I'm still sticking with my prediction. I still think
the three-way.
And I think Switchblade's winning the block. I really
Eddie Kingston. Okay, so yeah, Eddie Kingston versus Jay White is a really good story they could tell too. They would have to make sure the commentators get that one over more though, where like Eddie and Moxley could
Kevin Kelly needs to be there to explain all this.
Yeah,
because he knows all the New Japan fucking history.
Whether he wins or loses, Jay White needs to mention that like he's winning this belt, this Triple Crown, so he can go back to Japan. He's like, I'm getting my passport back, baby.
Because imagine he wins, and that's how he gets on the Wrestle Kingdom card. And then people from like New Japan fans would be very happy because they would get Switchblade on the card. They would have Moxley on the card. They would have Will Ospreay on the card, and Danielson. So you'd have like 4 guys from AEW on your New Japan card, and you can stop bitching that AEW doesn't send people over, because that's like. If you're getting 4 of those guys and you're still complaining,
then you're going to have the other people that bitch that they book too many AEW guys.
Okay, well,
there's
those people can respectfully suck a dick. Like, come on. What are we doing here?
That Wrestle Kingdom card though is so weird to me, honestly. Like, I think it's going to be a great show, but I feel like I have no hype for outside of like the Danielson match. It's really weird.
It's so weird. I just don't feel like the Naito Sonata stuff is properly built. And I think there's a lot of story there. You've explained to me
I kind of don't know
the logic behind it.
Okay, I will say I haven't watched it yet, but I can't remember who tweeted it. Maybe the Super JCast Twitter or something. But they were like, I haven't been feeling any of the Sonata Naito build at all, forever. But there was like not a documentary, but like a promo package, just a hype video. It's probably like 5 minutes long though. That they uploaded with it's subtitled, that apparently was just amazing, of mostly Naito talking, but with Sonata too, that they're like, I'm fucking sold, like air this everywhere is like what they were saying. So I haven't watched it, so I don't really know
that's good.
But yeah, they really need to lean in on how this is like Naito's last chance, just about, because honestly, like he didn't even think he was going to get this one. Like he thought last year was his last chance. He actually thought the year before was his last chance. And it was like he had just a little grasp of hope again. So I thought he was going to win the G1 last year.
Right. I remember that.
2 years ago, I thought he was going to win and beat Shingo when Okada beat Shingo, because it was basically kind of the same story with Shingo as Sonata, even though Shingo just would have still been in the faction where Sonata left. But yeah, it's actually a really cool Naito story. And he's I don't think he's got much time left after this. So
Naito.
enjoy the moment when he wins, because it may not last.
I feel like Naito's gonna retire before freaking Tanahashi.
I think so too. I think Tanahashi would be one of those guys wrestling the sporadic matches into his 70s, like
Redman.
Yeah. He's not even that old yet.
Suzuki.
I'm thinking of specific. No, it's like Tatsumi Fujinami. Dude's like 70, maybe even close to 80, and he wrestled like a good handful of matches last year. All multi-mans, and he just does barely.
Yeah.
And he's in good shape for his age. He just looks really old.
Especially
that's what Tanahashi's going to be doing.
Yeah, because Tanahashi's got that move set that like he can change a few things, and
he just has to stop the high fly flow, and he'll be fine.
Yeah, just get some sort of submission, and he'd be good. some low impact.
I think but back to Dynamite. I mean, we didn't really talk about the main event, but all I really have to say about it anyway, it was a great match, obviously, but you could tell they saved a lot for the obvious rematch. That's why I'm kind of thinking that's what they'll do anyway, because I believe everyone was freaking out because there was not even a single drop of blood, which shocked everyone. And which I actually don't think was true, because I think Moxley actually did bust up his lip, but he barely bled. Like I saw it for like a second, kind of wiped it off. Yeah, no planned blood for sure. But yeah, match was great. They teased the time limit pretty well, because the crowd was so loud it was hard to hear the time calls, but I could hear that they were doing them. I just couldn't necessarily make out what he was saying. But like I heard 15 minutes. So I'm like, okay, 5 minutes left. And I did look at my phone when the bell rang, so I kind of knew when the time would end anyway, in case it got close. But it's so funny. They teased it really well. I thought, especially watching back on TV, maybe that's from the announcers, but watching live, I didn't think it was ever going to a time limit. Even though I was like acutely aware we were close, I'm like, oh, this is it. Swerve at the stump. And I'm like, okay, Swerve, got it. But then Moxley obviously kicks out, but like literally there's 5 seconds after that, Moxley does the roll up, and I was like, oh, that's deep. That's it,
Yeah. And it was he pulled the tights too.
And that fucking shoulder was up, bro. We need a seminar, actually. Let me go on a tangent here.
Yes, please.
It's gotten egregious. Tony Khan needs to send his referees to training school.
Yes.
The old ones, the young ones, it doesn't matter how long they've been doing it, something has happened. Don't fucking count if the shoulder's not down. I don't care what the plan's finish is.
Yeah.
Why are we? I've overlooked so many bad reffing things, because like in my head, my canon is they're bad refs. Most sport refs are bad, and I don't even care. It's funny to me most of the time, but that is unforgivable. Like missing the ropes, missing tights. Obviously, that's planned. That's fine, but the fuck you miss all that stuff because you're looking at the shoulders. So look at the fucking shoulders.
It was really bad at the Ring of Honor one, though. That one was even worse.
And Mike Posey has been reffing for 30 fucking years, I'm pretty sure. Like,
and
he wasn't ever that bad.
He's usually not.
Because Mike Posey, he used to be a referee like at the indie show here, and that was like,
he's good. And like Bryce is good, and Bryce has been fucking up lately. Rick Knox is kind of always, but like I don't.
The only one who doesn't fuck up is Aubrey. Never fucks up really, but
no. I think she just. I think her only like issue, and it's one that I don't really care about, is like when there is interference planned, she like doesn't not look as well sometimes, and I'm like, I'm pretty sure she saw that. She's just pretending she did it, but yeah.
Yeah. She's bad at looking.
But that's whatever.
She's bad at being dumb, if that makes sense.
Yeah. But God, between that happening Wednesday, which actually plays into the story fine in that match. So I'd already kind of overlooked it, but that happening, and then the Ring of Honor one with Wheeler Yuta and Tom Lawler was so bad, because that one was not planned. The announcers just played it off because it was so bad they couldn't ignore it.
Yeah.
I think the plan was the thing is, the ref was supposed to miss something, but he missed the wrong thing. He was supposed to miss that his foot was under the rope.
Mm-hmm.
But he instead just missed that his shoulder, he was on his stomach, as you were saying.
Yeah, literally for the last 2 counts, Tom Lawler was on his stomach. But yeah, it's this. I mean, honestly, and I think what happened was they botched the what's the thing called?
Seatbelt.
The seatbelt. They botched it. I don't know if it was Tom or Yuta, but like, something got mixed up when they were doing it, and they just still went with it. But like that bro, I've been watching wrestling all my life. I've watched wrestling from the 60s, 70s, 80s. I've seen refs halfway fuck up finishes because it was supposed to be the finish, but they refused to count because the shoulder wasn't down. And then the shoulder gets down and they count the 3 count. And I'm like, God damn, that was a lot of time went by before the 3 count. But I don't care. That's better.
It's better than counting when you fucking can't when the shoulders off.
Do you guys know what she's talking about?
I know exactly what she's talking about.
Blaze, you remember that moment?
The Cameron?
Yeah, Cameron in WWE, the Funkadactyl, the other one that not Naomi.
She did her the split finish where she
wanted the ref to count when the person was on their stomach.
And the ref's like, she's on her stomach.
On live TV on Monday Night Raw, I believe. May have been taped for a C show, but I'm pretty sure it was on Raw.
That was that's a classic.
It's up there. That one and the one this year of Bolton Oleg, the New Japan trainee guy, who forgot how like tag team wrestling worked because he had never really done it. He'd only done like singles matches and training. He was just trying to like tag out and like from the other apron, like on the other side of the ring, and it's so funny. Like he completely forgot the rules.
Oh no!
He's great though. I will say, like the Bolton Oleg and Oscar Webe, I believe is how you say it. They say it a different way every fucking time. They're two like basically like the foreign trainees they have now that have been young lions most of the year, so they're starting to get wins over the other young lions. They've gotten so good. I'm really excited for them. I'll say.
Very awesome.
Yeah.
That's pretty much the end of Dynamite, so we can move on to Final Battle.
Actually, real quick, I'll talk about what happened in Rampage since it was the same tape.
Yeah, please.
But it wasn't like super important, I would say, other than the fucking main event. But
I haven't seen it yet. But I know it's crazy.
You guys gotta watch that. But so it opened with Orange Cassidy and the Von Erichs against the former JAS. We don't have a name for these people yet. 2.0 and Jake Hager, except for technically, I don't think they're called 2.0 anymore, which is also annoying.
Yeah, Matt Menard and Cool Hand Ange.
Angelo Parker, yeah, it's God. Anyway, but so yeah, that happened. That was fun. I told you already, Jeff, but it's Marshall Von Erich, the blonde one that wrestles Shoeless. He had a rough night. I don't think he's that bad, because he did look a lot better at the Final Battle pre-show, but man, it was rough. He botched like 2 different drop kicks. He just couldn't jump. But I'm sure the ring was set up slightly different, than the rings he's used to. It's probably just some shit like that. But, it's whatever. The match was still hot. The crowd didn't care. And they're obviously always going to be hot for Orange Cassidy anyway. And even like the heel team, like Jake Hager is actually really good at generating crowd heat, when he's in matches, I'd say. Kind of an underrated part for him. And then afterwards, they did the thing where they were getting beat down after they got the one. Marshall Von Erich actually did get a roll-up win, too, over one of the 2.0 guys, I think, Angelo Parker. So that was cool. And then they played the theme song again, which rules. And Kevin came out, and he's all there, like mentally. I mean, he cuts promos and everything, still good, but his body is just, I think he's got real bad arthritis. So he's kind of like shake or whatever. But bro, he still looked like larger than life. He held up his hand, because they're famous for the claw. And the dude's got fucking absolutely monstrous hands. Like he does not look like human hands. Yeah. And he was like the one that did the claw more than any of Fritz's other kids, because Fritz Von Erich popularized it, obviously, because he had the huge hands. But the other kids, like Kerry, didn't really. I mean, he did it because it was like a Von Erich move. But Kevin's the only one I think could like sell it, like like he did. And he came out and do that. Like, bro, I've never like. He had the biggest smile I've ever seen on my face. That was the best part of that whole thing.
He looks very happy.
He got to have that moment. Yeah, it was awesome. And after that, they just did the short squash with Don Callis' family against those 2 jobbers. That didn't last long at all. Callis, trolled the crowd, like I said, got mega heat when he tried to cut his promo on Jericho. He basically cut a promo on the Golden Jets too, so that kind of sucks. He said he has a new thing now, Don Callis family rules. And he didn't really elaborate too much, but basically he was like, any 2 members of the family can challenge the Golden Jets. I'm like, what do you mean? Like whenever they want or what? But obviously that's kind of like, it doesn't matter anymore. So, which sucks, but
I don't know whether,
but really good heat. Jericho was on commentary, obviously too, was part of that. Absolutely massive heat though. That definitely the most heat I've ever been a part of live. I would say it translated pretty good to the broadcast too. And then they did Anna Jay versus Red Velvet, and it was solid. I actually
Who won that
I actually
one?
really liked it. Anna Jay won because they're doing the thing with she didn't. Soraya wasn't there, but when I watched back on TV, they made the point that Soraya's really taken Anna Jay under her wing and stuff like that. So she's kind of got the angle. So
Yeah, so she's probably joining. She's joining that faction.
Live, I was surprised she won. Just because Red Velvet kind of just came back. But then watching back, oh, okay. Well, Anna has the angle. Red Velvet doesn't really have the angle going yet. And she won because Daddy Magic had a distraction though, so it was still dirty. And then it was the main event, which got crazy time, like 20 minutes. Bro, just absolutely insane. So it was.
I can go had a weekend,
Yeah, that didn't watch. It was Dante Martin, Darius Martin, and Action Andretti. Which the whole trio should just be called Top Flight. Honestly, that does not need. That can be the trio name, not the tag team name. And they were against Vikingo, Commander, and Penta. And holy, Jericho said it's one of the best matches he's ever seen live, and like, it's up there. It's really up there. Like, I don't know if I would go that far. I've seen some good ass matches live, but. And Jericho has 2 for 1, so I'm gonna call him out on that. But I don't blame him for saying it in the moment. It was that good.
Did you feel like Jericho kind of made it about himself when he came on the ring?
What do you mean? And his little promo, was that actually on the broadcast? I don't remember.
Wasn't.
Oh, okay.
It's just because I read some people mention it, right? And
no, not at all.
You know how the internet goes. They're gonna spin
yeah,
things.
No, that's bullshit. Because how it happened was Tony Khan came out after the match, and the broadcast had clearly already ended. They had done handshakes. Penta actually got into Dante's face for a second. The crowd kind of oohed because, the injury. And but Penta basically was like, it's not over between us, like kind of motioned that. And but then shook his hand and everything. That was cool. And then Tony Khan came out, really quickly thanked everyone for coming, and then said, let's hear it for Dante, gave him the mic. And then he didn't really just real short promos. And then Jericho kind of like, none of them wanted to talk. You could tell. So that's when Jericho came in and just basically was like, holy fuck, that was one of the best matches I've ever seen, And like all he did was put over the guys, and it was like a minute, and then he was like, drive safe, everyone. Yeah, it's that. It was a very short post-show thing compared to some of the other long ones I've been to with AEW.
Okay, that seems harmless then.
Yeah.
What I was gonna say about the Golden Jets Don Callis stuff, I know, like, for those who haven't seen, like, Kenny's unfortunately out with like diverticulitis, so that sucks. But the match was already booked. I'm assuming they're not gonna take. I don't think they're gonna take Ricky off the pay-per-view.
They should run the match 100%. Get Jericho another partner. I mean, like, personally, yes, if they could slot a different team in there, that would be fine too. But no, the angle's already going. I have Jericho just find a partner, a good one, hopefully.
It's a shame because, like, I know they already, like, decide things and, like, the angle's already passed, but, like, this would have been a good time for fucking Sammy Guevara to join Jericho again. Like, this would have been the perfect fucking time.
It actually could work, though. I think you could work that in. That might be what they do, honestly.
I mean,
they can return anytime. Jericho be getting beat down. They're like, Kenny's not here. JAS turned his back. He has no one. But him and Sammy were not on bad terms when Sammy, left. So got hurt, actually. But
right.
Remember, didn't Sammy join the Don Callis family? He turned on him.
Yeah, that's the thing.
Oh, fuck, duh. I completely forgot about that part. Yeah, never mind. That was right before he got the injury. That was right before he got the injury.
They could go with, though. Because the Fletcher joined after Sammy got hurt, I think.
Fletcher turned first.
Oh, okay. You're right.
Okay.
Fletcher turned first.
I was say he could
I thought Fletcher teamed with them first, but was not made an official member until after Sammy got hurt.
You might be right. Because he came in because Sammy got hurt.
And then
and Don kept giving him like tests. Yeah.
Right.
Like Sammy's like, y'all replace me, so screw y'all.
Yeah, that's like you could do a quick pivot. People would be like, "Oh, what the fuck? He just joined." But I think
I'll be right back, guys. You guys keep talking.
Yeah, no problem. But Blaze, I think you would agree, especially like I'm all for trying babyface Sammy again because I think it can work better. It just has to be done right.
Yeah, just don't like shove him and tie down people's throat. It could work.
Yes, and don't have him against your, like, an example. They wouldn't do this feud, but don't book him against Swerve, like your heel that is essentially already a babyface turning because the crowd likes them so much. Book him against people that the crowd wants to boo, and they will cheer him. Like,
Yeah, exactly. Like, just try it out.
Yeah, but yeah, so Jericho, I think, will probably get a replacement. I've heard some atrocious theories, like Paul White
Oh God, please no.
coming back into the angle. Yeah, but yeah, I don't know. There's plenty of possibilities. The roster's huge. I'm just not sure who they could slot in anyone for a short term thing. It just kind of needs to be a decent name for the title match, I would say.
Yeah,
And no one's really popping into my head.
Always calls up when he needs a partner. Like, go to Japan.
Yeah, like I wonder what Ibushi, could they fucking go that nuts with it and get Ibushi and Jericho in there?
They
Yeah.
could. Who else could they do? I'm trying to think who else they could take. Who would make sense with Jericho? Who would make sense against Ricky and Big Bill?
I wouldn't even be. You could do a one-off that doesn't make a lot of sense if it's a good enough name. Like Suzuki is one I did hear some people talking about.
Suzuki would make sense.
They have the history. I just don't know if he's booked up in Japan or something.
Like, he always calls him up.
Yeah, exactly. It's like a running gag now. I don't know. Jeff, did you hear that I had seen people suggesting Paul White?
No, please no.
As a joke, but still.
It wouldn't even make sense in kayfabe because he's injured in kayfabe.
You would hope he's still injured, yes. But
yes. I don't know. Who
else.
I
don't know.
Ibushi makes kind of sense though.
I think that one makes the most sense of what I just. They could even. I don't know. It'd be really weird.
Nick
but
Jackson.
No. What I was gonna say is like have Jericho, like the Bucks, come back and be dicks about it, but basically somehow I'm not sure how get Jericho to put the title shot up again before the pay-per-view, and it's like a handicap match, and the Bucks get it back, and you just run back the Bucks title match that they never got.
Yeah,
but I don't know. That would get them over as like dick heels if that's what they're going with or something. But I don't know how you really talk Jericho into putting the title match he already has. I don't know, but
yeah, I mean the other thing is you could have replaced Jericho outright with just FTR, but FTR are going to be they're still busy with House of
Black, right?
They kept that they kept that going on Collision as well, so.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's such a weird thing because they're really pushing the you have no friends thing.
Yeah, I don't really get that angle, honestly. I assume it's kind of a setup for Adam Copeland to join them at some point, but he's very busy right now. I don't know if he's going to be doing the 2-angle kind of thing, which is basically what that would be if he joined right now.
I think it might be a weird thing that's going to end up showing that FTR are part of like the Devil's Group.
That would be okay. I wouldn't mind that at all.
There's the Pinnacle. There's the whole Pinnacle.
Yeah.
There's one of the people think that it could be the ex-Pinnacle members, right? So
and then they could have the House of Black do like the thing. I don't know. No, it wouldn't make sense, honestly. But I kind of think some of the segments already don't make sense, like in hindsight.
I don't know. Yeah.
Pivoted. So
we'll see where it
doesn't
goes.
matter. But I was going to say they could be like, see, we were the right ones all along. We knew they were evil, even though, but I'm like, well, they haven't actually said that at all. So no, that doesn't make sense. But they could still say it.
Yeah, this is more like we're your family now. That's what this angle is doing now.
Yeah.
Who knows where it's going? I'll reserve judgment when I see what the payoff is, I guess.
Yeah, they just need to get to it because I haven't watched Collision yet, obviously, but I feel like I've been kind of a little lost other than like, okay, it's clearly a feud between these two teams. That's kind of all I need to know, but I'm not getting some of the minor details at all. I feel like I'm missing something.
No, I'm not sure either, and it's maybe they're just kind of killing. Maybe they're killing time for somebody to join FTR until Brody's more free because obviously Brody's busy right now as well.
Yeah, that's true too.
So that could be it. We'll do. Let's go to Final Battle.
So, we can talk about Final Battle now. That was a great show. Did you guys both watch the whole show or what?
Yeah,
90% of it. I didn't see the first, maybe two first pre-show matches. Let me just pull it up here.
Yeah, I've seen everything. I was there.
They actually
have no watch.
Yeah, they actually had a bonus match before the pre-show even started with JD Griffey and Gringo Loco, and JD Griffey actually beat Gringo Loco.
What? That's awesome.
Yeah, he's a Texas guy. But still, I wouldn't have expected it.
Okay, so I missed the first two matches because I don't think I saw Taya against Jasmine Allure either.
That was short, but that was fun. Taya was cool.
Yeah, it was nice to see her there. Then the Von Erichs against the Outrunners, I'm assuming didn't go very long.
No, that was like they looked so much better than the Rampage match.
And this
and
match,
Outrunners is so fucking funny.
Were they pretty over with the live crowd?
Yeah, like not super over like with the Hulk not necessarily, but with some fans you could tell it's like the one guy at one point during the match was a little quieter, was like, "They're the youngest men alive," and
Nice,
screamed it,
nice.
and I heard him from across the stadium. I mean, it came across on TV actually.
Yeah, it doesn't surprise me that they wouldn't be as over, especially going up against a local team like the
You
Volume.
have to watch
Obviously,
them
they're
on TV too,
And I just, I
yeah,
like
yeah, yeah.
It's like I said with the Irish Savagery Force, it's a team that me and my one of my friends would like make on 2K, like that whole
No.
look and
So
stuff.
what Ian and Caprice called them, I think it was on ROH TV this week, but it could have been on this pay-per-view. I don't remember. They were like, basically, if you took all the popular 80s tag teams, like the Legion of Doom, Demolition, the Mega Powers, and you took, I think they described it as parts from each of them and not necessarily the good parts, you would get the Outrunners.
Yeah, yeah, that's a very good point. Then we had a really kick-ass match, though. Brian Keith against Jack Cartwheel for the last spot, which I thought was a very neat wrinkle to add instead of having just a straight-up surprise, they're like, oh, one of these two guys is going to be in the match. I thought that was
that's actually a thing. I didn't realize till after, but the whole survival of the fittest gimmick, like people would like your ROH pure fans would have been all like up in arms if it would have just been a complete like surprise, because that's like the survival of the fittest is not just the match. The part of it's the qualifying, because they treat it like a little mini tournament, even though it's literally just 6 qualifying matches.
Sure.
It'd be like treating like Money in the Bank as a tournament because you have qualifying matches, but they don't always in Money in the Bank. That's the thing.
Yeah.
People do just get it.
Brock Lesnar certainly didn't.
Yeah, like every survival of the fittest you have to qualify. That's the point. That's part of the match, and then it's an elimination match.
Yeah.
So yeah, I didn't realize it till completely after the fact, but so it was a little crucial that he actually did have a qualifying match.
He was super over and was great. This match ruled. Yeah. Jack Cartwheel looked great too. Either of these men would have deserved.
I tweeted last night after the show, like after those 2 matches I've seen of Keith, he's another fan. I didn't know much about him beforehand, but like I said, put that man in Ring of Honor or something.
Yeah, Brian Keith rules. I first saw him at this Glory Pro Wrestling main event at one of the collective shows I went to.
Yeah.
When WrestleMania was here, like almost 2 years ago now. That was the first show of the weekend. It had fucking Josh Alexander on the card, like Jake something, like Max C. Impeller, like names I knew and liked. And then the main event was Brian Keith against, it may have been Exodus Prime, that dude from Revolver that we talked about recently.
Yeah.
But I can't actually remember because it's someone that I didn't know at the time for sure. And so it may have been someone else. But that was when I first saw Brian Keith, and he won me over instantly, like in that main event. It was awesome.
Yeah, man. This match was just, it went a million miles an hour. They all hit their spots. Brian Keith was super over, local guy. But I thought even Cartwheel got his spots over too. Like there's nobody.
But no one will boo a Cartwheel. That man will never be booed, because the Cartwheel spots are way too over.
They really are. They really
he did
are.
one move that looks insane. I don't know how he doesn't snap his arm. Where he does he kind of lifts him up in kind of like a power slam position. He does a power slam, like a front power slam. He's holding him in front of him, like on his chest. He does the power slam, actually slams them, but he does kind of like a push-up cartwheel in the process. It's like a spin. If he was doing it in like a fireman's carry position, I kind of get that. That's a cartwheel motion, But he did a front power slam and still cartwheeled and landed on his feet. Like what?
I don't know, man. This guy makes no sense. But the match was, it was just great. Brian Keith won. He ends up being in the match, and he was great in the match later on too.
Mm-hmm.
There's another secret bonus match too.
Dude, which was insane. That what the fuck? Where did this come from? When Daniel
Garcia
Daniel Garcia's music hit, crowd went nuts. He's just perpetually over.
I know, it's crazy,
insane.
Right? And he's not even really in he's super over while being in a legitimate I'm a fucking loser storyline.
Yeah, that's his angle too. He's depressed about it and everything. He's a fucking loser, and he's calling himself a loser.
Yeah, and then he keeps losing. He keeps losing.
He did win this one, thankfully.
He did win this one.
I mean, Blake Christian is fine or anything, but Blake looked good. there's a few spots like early on I could feel like they were a little like mistimed, but I was actually impressed they played them off like realistically, you know, like not a mistimed choreographed spot, but just they went for a move and it didn't connect cleanly and they kept going for the other move, you know, that kind of stuff. I like really pop for that kind of stuff.
That's when botches are fine. Sometimes botches can be happy accidents. They look good.
As long as they're not injuries, I don't want matches to look super clean and choreographed, like, you know, because at least plan some things to look unplanned. You're gonna
I mean, like when you're fighting someone, like not everything you do is gonna be like perfect.
Yeah, that's what when I listen to like Lance Storm talk about like modern wrestling, which is not he's not you know a downer on or anything, but it's like certain stuff like just really irks him. Like when he's been watching NXT recently, not because he thinks it's even bad TV, because he's just like they're gonna be fucked when they get to the main roster because they won't have all week to choreograph the matches, you know. But he'll go on like tangents of talking about like, you know, like because people ask questions all the time. It's like one of those popular questions. How do you deal with the language barrier when you're wrestling people? You know, like Japan and stuff. He's like, bro, my first match in Japan, I never even saw the people I was wrestling. They just gave us a finish and said go do 10 minutes, and we didn't say a word the whole match. Like, you just do it, you know. Like, he's like,
wrestling is the language, right?
Yeah. Like,
you hear that from a lot of older guys that like, yeah, there's cues and stuff like that.
Feel the emotion. Honestly, like this is like, you know, like I would like wrestle my friends when we were younger, and even like my little brother and stuff, and like. I mean, we weren't like actually like wrestling trying to hurt each other. We just like kind of alternate doing moves, you know, like because we knew shit's fake, you know, once we got a little older, like, you know, we'd be like clothesline, you know, like then go do it, like and stuff like that, like. Yeah, I guess that kind of defeats the purpose of the language barrier, but actually no, because the move names are the same pretty much in most languages, so that was a benefit.
I mean, everybody knows lariat.
Yeah.
Everybody knows
German suplex.
Kick, you know, like it's no,
like,
you know, I'm sure there's a word like for the ropes too. They probably just call it Irish whip or something.
There's actually, all right, well, I'm going on a tangent again too. We'll get back to Ring of Honor, but I saw this clip floating through recently on it's an old clip. I saw it recently of when Cody was doing all his like story time shit he used to do on like YouTube all the time. And it was one where it was like the 2008 Royal Rumble. He was in there, you know, so 2008 is like his like second year on the main roster. If that, maybe it's like his first full year still. So he's like a glorified rookie still, you know, super young. He's in there with Undertaker, and the Royal Rumble was very ad-lib for the most part, you know, like you just kind of do whatever until you're playing spots, you know, if you're going to be in for a while. And so he's like, I saw Undertaker just kind of beating on someone in the corner. So I thought, fuck it. So I went and I hit Undertaker in the back as hard as I could. And he said, you know, right then he jerked his head around. I was like, fuck. And he said he grabbed him by the throat with a choke slam. He's like, all right, here goes, going up, you know, just thinking he's about to take a choke slam. And then he's like, I hear Undertaker go, kick me in the leg. So he kicks him in the leg. And then he's like, hit a big drop kick. And so yeah, you know, pushes off, does the ropes, you know, drop kicks Undertaker right in the face. Undertaker takes a bump or whatever. And Cody's face, when he saw, so he goes, he took a bump. He took a bump. And I was like, oh my God. You know, just completely unplanned. You know, this wrestler of 20 years, you know, you're a rookie. It's so funny too, because like clearly he did like it's Dusty's kid. That's why Undertaker did all of that. It's not like he's not doing it for this rookie or blah blah blah. But
of course not.
Still, it was so funny. Like Cody's the way he told the story had me die.
It doesn't surprise me. Cody's so good at telling those kinds of stories too.
But yes, that was the last pre-show though with Blake Christian, Daniel Garcia. Daniel Garcia ended up getting the win right before the main card started. Yeah, really good. Like crowd was super hot, like already, you know, for all of that.
Yeah, then we got to the main card and it was didn't really slow down from there.
No, they even had breather matches, but I feel like they did not slow it down for me at all.
No, not at all.
Like
they opened
it opened with the AAA title match, right? Yeah.
Yep. Yeah.
Vikingo and Taurus. Vikingo, he was spotty at some times. Like he fucked up that rope spot like twice, but I don't know. It's like
it didn't come off like a fuck up on TV. It just came off like he was kind of just like practicing it, I guess, or just kind of like
because I assume the camera work was good for sure, but Taurus was just fucking standing there.
He was, yeah. I'm sure he was, yeah.
You could tell that second time he's like, fuck it.
Well, in the chat, I was like, I would have just moved.
Yeah,
Yeah.
he did write that. I remember that.
Like, bro.
Oh, the match was great though. Just
It's
insane
gold.
shit. He did that one move that I think is the most impressive thing he does consistently, where he stands on the outside middle rope, looking like at the crowd, and somehow does a whole like fucking 450 into the ring from the outside middle
Yeah.
rope. And he from a standing position, he did that like on my side, like right in front of me. I still don't understand. Like I was trying
That
to watch and figure
and
out how he does it.
the like corkscrew 450 Hurricane Rana thing that he
Yes.
did, which
Oh my
was
god.
like,
He also did
what?
a 630, a springboard 630 to a standing Tarus. Like I've only ever seen him do that on the table spot on the outside, not to a standing opponent. You have to flip so much quicker. Like
Probably does not trust anybody else other than Taurus to take
Bruh.
that spot either.
that was insane.
Because Taurus is
I think
just
the
so
standing
good.
630 was the most impressive spot of the night. Second to Commander's rope walk 450 to the apron in that later match. Like,
Commander
but I
probably
do
had his
think
best
the
match of his career.
630, yeah, the 630 to the outside to the standing opponent was slightly more impressive because I did the rotations were just insane. Like I was like, holy fuck.
It was just a crazy match, man. The
Yeah.
crowd was really good all night, I found, which was
Mhm.
really nice for a smaller crowd, especially. But they were very rowdy.
Oh yeah,
They
good.
love the crap out of this match. Viking will obviously retain because I really don't see ever a AAA belt changing hands on AEW ROH TV.
Be crazy. They got 3 Triple Manias a year to change hands at, you know?
Exactly. But the match was really great. There's not much else to talk about. I mean, it's exactly what you would expect those two guys to do. It was
Mhm.
great. There was nothing wrong with it. It ruled ass. The next match also ruled, I thought, which was Mogul Embassies against
Mhm.
TMDK. I thought that was a shockingly good match. Both
Yeah.
matches that were next actually were shockingly good matches.
I was insane. I went to the concession stands right before this one started, but there was no line, thankfully. So I got back like literally right when the bell rang, so I didn't miss anything. But yeah, this match was crazy. I thought all 3 members of TMDK actually
Look
looked
great.
fucking phenomenal.
Yeah.
Like you would not have believed that Kosei Fujita was a rookie last year. Like
Yeah, and he was like not that like I know he was like people were like he had some fairly bad botches early on when he came back.
he
From
actually,
what I
I
heard.
think someone got injured against him. Yeah, too, like
But
in one of the early matches. But yeah, it's
he
insane.
looked great
So
this match.
he partnered up with the TMDK people. He basically graduated himself, and they're like, "Can he do that?" He's like, "Fuck, I'm not going on an excursion. I'm just going to be part of TMDK." And he basically is doing an excursion with them.
They
He
mentioned
goes to
that
Australia. He goes to
on comms as
America.
well.
Actually, I really liked this trio. I wanted it to be what was I gonna say? Mikey Nichols to be able to make it, but he never fucking comes to America for some reason, you know? Shane Hayes' like regular partner. I know he can because he did recently, which made me realize, okay, well, so it's definitely not a visa thing. Maybe he just doesn't want to travel. But I love like that. I was thinking about it too. Bad Dude Tito has benefited so much from Jonah putting him in TMDK right before Jonah left to go back to WWE, you know? Because it's like he's not signed anywhere, obviously. And that kind of sucks because he's good. But being part of the group, and I love that TMDK and the United Empire are like the 2 best to do this. Like Will Ospreay and Jonah when he did it, and Zach when he does it, they know what they're doing when they put these guys in the group. They know it just forces people to book them, you know, whether they actually sign them to a contract or not. They're gonna get, you know, you want to book TMDK in America because you didn't angle in Japan. Well, so and so's not flying to America, but hey, Bad Dude Tito's here. He's available, so he gets a booking that he otherwise wouldn't have got. I mean, you know, he never know. He may never get a call to go back to tour Japan again, but he did one time for the G1. He fucking fought Okada, like just because Jonah, you know, was like, "I like you. You want to join the group?"
Yeah.
With no booking, no one booked that. No one, you know, that it was all like, "Hey, this is my fucking group. I'm like not tied down to this company. The group's not tied down to this company, so I can do whatever the fuck I want." And that's what Will Ospreay does too. It's so cool. I wish
adding
people
guys
would do
like
it even
Gideon
more.
and shit, right? Like just add guys like he wants.
Callum Newman's the new one. He's been in Japan like for the last like 3 months. It feels like
Nice.
They haven't booked him for a tournament. He's not in a tournament, but they'll book him for the prelims when he's there. You know. So
Yeah, this match was great. Like, yeah, Bad Dude T looked great. I thought this was one of Gates of Agony's best matches too. I thought they were really tight, really solid. The match was really chaotic with a lot of stuff on the outside, but it never felt like it lost any of the flow to it either. Like everything still made sense. It didn't get off the rails in a bad way, which I thought was really good. Sometimes these trios matches they kind of get a little silly, and then you're like, what the hell's even going on anymore? But it didn't feel like that. It felt like everything made sense.
You can't keep up with like who's who is the worst part. Like,
exactly.
I know the wrestlers, and when I can't remember, like, oh wait, what the fuck? Where's he coming from? You know, that kind of stuff. It's like, and you can have the chaos as long as the announcers are also able to keep up. That's what just as long as you don't confuse the announcers.
Yeah,
or hire better announcers that don't get confused. That's
that's right. But Mogul Embassy went over, and good match, good decision. Everything went great. Yeah, no, and then we can go right into the next match because I thought this was also very surprisingly good. Because I actually had low expectations for this match.
I didn't really think it needed the I Quit stipulation, but I think it made it better for sure. They worked it really well.
And honestly, I don't really like I Quit matches usually because I find they always usually have a very stupid gimmick finish that doesn't end up being like everybody remembers the match that like with The Rock and Mankind, and he never actually quit. And like I feel like it's been a lot of that in wrestling and I Quit matches. It's always stupid crap like that.
The worst part to me is not necessarily the finish, because I'm like, they have to like always outdo the last finish, it seems like, you know, and sometimes it results in really stupid ones. But I get so annoyed when literally half the match is, ask him, ref, do you quit? No. Like, okay, can we please get back to the wrestling, you know? And they did every spot where there was like a
made sense, right?
Thing. Yeah, it made sense out of purpose. It was so much better. I was like terrified that this match was going to be one of those, especially.
Me too. You know? I honestly thought this match was going to suck ass, and it ended up being one of my favorite matches of the night.
I love the Scorpio Sky return too. Like I can't actually believe how much I love it, even in hindsight, because like the whole time it was happening, I'm like, okay, this is a clear setup. Someone's going to save Ethan. And I'm like, who the fuck could it be? And I'm like thinking in my head, who would even make sense? And I'm like, I was going way out there. I was like, it's gonna be fucking Josh Alexander. Like, did Shibata get like cleared early to return? He's gonna make a surprise. You know, I was thinking all these scenarios. And
we actually talked about that in the live chat too.
Yeah. Then Scorpio Sky's music hits, and I'm just like, oh fuck, and then it hit me. It took me a couple seconds. I'm like, oh yeah, the minute of the year. And I got so hyped because I love when they first started the minute of the year.
Yeah, they were great
before they joined up with Dan Lambert. I love that group so much. Like I forgot how much I loved the group when they first joined up.
They're
when they were like feuding with Darby and stuff. Yeah. They were cutting some of the best fucking promos on Dynamite. Honestly,
they were really good.
Mm-hmm.
And then it just kind of fell off the rails.
Doing MMA shit for some reason because they had
Dan Lambert for some reason talk for people
some kind of MMA background. Yeah. But
I
look forward. I don't know. I don't think it's going to be like an actual pairing. I think, you know, they might just do more of their solo stuff. Maybe just both on Ring of Honor though. But I thought it was actually a way cooler moment than it kind of had any right to be for just the Scorpio Sky return. But I was fucking hyped.
I think that moment being on Ring of Honor actually helps it because I feel like that moment may have fallen a bit flatter on AEW television. Whereas,
well, in a way, it's kind of, I've said this about NXT before, and I know some people don't like when I compare Ring of Honor to NXT, but I don't give a fuck. Like it's very close still in a lot of ways. But WWE can bring anyone to NXT from the main roster, and they're going to get this huge fucking reaction. And it's going to make the moment better. It's going to make me like the segment way more than I would have, even if I would have liked it already. It's just going to feel like a bigger deal. And you can do that with Ring of Honor too, as you can tell.
It worked. I felt like the crowd really reacted well to it too. The crowd reacted really well to this match, which again, I was afraid they wouldn't, considering that like Ethan Page and Tony Nese are not the most, like Ethan Page is very likable, but Tony Nese.
Ethan was very over. I will say that much for sure. Like Ethan's super over, and Smart Mark's good at getting heat. And I would actually I do think Tony is to himself. His promos are
good.
very basic, but people don't sit on their hands. It's cheap, but some people cut cheap heat promos, and it's just like, bro, no one gives a fuck. Can we get on with it? And they don't do that with Tony Nese, at least. Like, I will give him that much credit.
The like live
perfect Ring of Honor heel. Like, again,
it works. Yeah, this act works a lot better in Ring of Honor.
Yeah,
from a smaller crowd. I agree. The whole like everybody get on your feet thing as well.
And he's a great worker. I've never had issue with Tony Nese in the ring.
Doesn't really have bad matches.
Yeah.
He never really.
There was actually a time I remember in WWE during the 205 Live days when I was watching, during the good days, but kind of on the tail end of when they were really good. Tony Nese was with like Gulak or something. Gulak was champion, and they were heels, and Tony did like a big turn and challenged Nese for the title at WrestleMania in the pre-show, and they were in like New York, which is Tony's hometown. I was like so in on it. I'm like, fuck yes, it's about to be a huge babyface run, and then he wins the belt and everything, and then he starts cutting more promos after. I'm like, I remember now.
Yeah.
But he's such a good worker. Like,
he's not a good promo for WWE style, especially. He's just not. He's just not. It's not that. He's not that kind of worker. We'll get through the card a bit faster just because we're low on time.
Well, we can basically skip the next match. It was Vert Vixen. I'm so confused why that was even booked on pay-per-view. It was fine. I have no complaints. Very short. I like seeing Vert Vixen, but why was it not pre-show? Is my only question.
Yeah, I feel like they could have put that on the pre-show and added like Brian Keith, Jack Cartwheel, or Daniel Garcia, Blake Christian.
I think Garcia, Blake Christian would have been fine because I actually even like double checked. I'm like, why the fuck wasn't this on the pre-show? But I looked up the original graphic for it. Never said 0 hours, so I'm like,
yeah.
But I like seeing Nyla. I haven't seen her the last couple of AEW shows I've been to, so that was cool. I've seen Vert Vixen recently for Revolver. But yeah, I always been seeing her. But yeah, just short squash. So I'm not 100% sure what they're leading to with it or if anything. But whatever.
It was fine. Like I said, I'm just happy to see both women on TV. But other than that, there's not much to talk about.
Wow.
We have the survival of the fittest 6-way, which was a phenomenal match. We'll have to try to get through them quickly because there's still so much. They ended up adding so much crap to this card that it ended up being super long.
I don't know. Thankfully, the rest I don't think we'll have a lot to like digest, delve into. Other than this match was fucking insane.
Yeah, with a shocking winner that I have no problem with. I think the way that they got rid of Dalton Castle is perfectly fine. If he's not going to win this match, he got distracted by Johnny TV, and he's going to continue that feud. Zero issue there.
Feud. The only real complaint I have with Kyle winning, and it wasn't too shocking for me necessarily, especially once he got down. Once Dalton got out, I'm like, I could definitely see Kyle winning this. But even towards the end, I still actually was leaning Commander. But the only thing is like, it's just more of guys that are also predominantly featured on AEW with a title. I'm sure Kyle's going to be on ROH every week, so it's not going to be that.
If that's the case, that's fine.
Where like Dalton is not on AEW TV every week, which as long as he's on ROH entertaining me, I have no issue with. I think he'd be great on either, and I think Johnny TV would be a great Ring of Honor centric title feud. And it's just so weird to me that they're going with the feud, which is great. I have no issues with that. It's just a little odd to me until I see at least what they do with Kyle Fletcher. It better not just be more of like a prop thing like Samoa Joe is doing, where he'll defend on Ring of Honor, but is like there any kind of actual story other than he's defending it, and then he has the belt for his Dynamite appearances. Basically.
So he needs to be a television champion, is what you're saying, and I agree with you. He needs to be a television champion on Ring of Honor television.
What I'm also saying is that he doesn't just having matches on Ring of Honor is actually not enough. It just does not need to be like he needs to have a more or less a story, at least some feuds. It doesn't have to be a story. Just some fucking feuds. Like build up the matches more than like a week, or most of Joe's weren't even really built up a week. It was a night, they cut promo before.
I think he will because he is a full, he can cut promos, no problem. And what I was going to say to counter your point is I think they might have run out of things for him to do on AEW TV, especially as a single competitor. So what better way? And it's clear that Tony sees something in him because they already got Will Ospreay. They don't need to push him technically.
I will say
right?
too, I definitely prefer that he won over Commander. I was like, I didn't realize how much I would have preferred that until I got down to those last two. That like before the match even started, I'm like, yeah, Commander's probably one of the big favorites, and I was like, that'd be cool if he wins. But when it got down to those last two, I'm like, I just really do not want. I don't think this would benefit anything to have Commander hold this belt. Really,
It's not his
maybe it's
time.
because of that promo. He can't talk, and I don't want to hear Alex Saber. He can't just talk all the time. Honestly, no offense.
No.
Yeah.
And he doesn't really need it. Whereas I think Kyle Fletcher is a guy that could really.
Mhm.
He needs to be presented as a big deal because they clearly see him as one.
Yeah, this was one of Commander's best matches, though. I will say
It was
too.
great.
He pulled out some. We talked about that 450 spot earlier. Holy fuck!
Especially when it came to the one-on-one with Kyle, they had amazing chemistry. Kyle, I mean, obviously showed out too. He was unbelievable in this match. The tombstone on the freaking apron, bro.
Oh my god,
disgusting.
Yeah.
Absolutely disgusting. But yeah, this match was awesome. I'm really excited to see what they do with Kyle. We can talk about it now because we'll do a quick detour real fast because they're introducing a women's TV title match. So by that logic, I'm hoping that like Kyle and whoever wins that belt will be the two people who are featured the most on weekly ROH TV.
Yeah, that's how it should work.
If they do it that way, I think it could be really good.
It's never consistently worked like that in any wrestling company ever, but yeah, that is.
Yeah, of course. In theory, it's great.
Yeah,
because
like,
I do
honestly
think,
like, oh my god, yeah, no, go ahead.
Because I think that I think Kingston's not going to be on very much, especially with the Triple Crown thing, and
we still kind of don't know what's going to happen with the ROH title after that.
Exactly, and we'll talk about it later. But with Athena retaining, I can see her slowing down defending as well. Because like she's literally
got to get her nose fixed at least.
That
like,
too, and she's literally beaten the entire division. So like, who else does she have to beat unless it's like, I don't know, like Serena Deeb maybe or something like that.
Yeah, well, let's stay on titles, and we can also move on to the next match anyway, because the next match was Wheeler Yuta retaining against Tom Lawler, and Yuta has a feud with Hook going, but I don't think that's going to have anything to do with the pure title. I wonder if the eventual plan is Shibata just going to come back, and like I don't know. I don't really know if I want to see Yuta Shibata again, but that's a story because Yuta cheated. But I don't think I want to see Yuta beat Shibata again, and I don't necessarily know that Shibata should just beat him right back either. I don't know. It's a very weird situation.
I feel like the only thing that makes sense for the pure title is for eventually for them to put it back on Josh Woods, like long-term plans.
Because he left the the varsity athletes and everything.
Yeah, so it kind of makes sense for him to win. I just don't think he's quite there yet, and the Shibata losing and having to leave, I think, put an kind of a derail of that, which makes me think that you're correct. And Shibata's just going to come back and win the belt back.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, I do not like this Yuta, I guess, match formula, this pure match formula of the heel Yuta. Like, it's too much. It's like, I can't compare it to House of Torture in good faith because
it's similar. I can see what you're saying.
There's no interference, but it gives me the same feeling as when I watch House of Torture interfere.
Makes you angry, doesn't it?
Like, yeah, like I mean, some of it's good and it works, but like it's just too much heat sometimes. Like when he did the whatchamacallit, the closed fist behind the ref's back, and Tom comes back and just punches the shit out of him right back, like he would. But the ref sees that one. That shit's great. Those kind of spots I do like.
I like that. Yeah.
Yeah, but it was mostly just obviously the botched ending we talked about already. So between that happening and then Hook comes out, which was really hype. Well, before Hook comes out, Yuta does the handshake and then just kicks Tom in the balls. I'm like, whatever. I don't really care that Yuta was a dick, but come on. What did Tom do? Like, Tony, why are you doing this?
Yuta's just a huge
dick. It gets worse. It gets worse. So Hook comes out. That's hype. I'm like, cool. I love seeing Hook. And he goes to check on Tom. And then he gets kicked in the balls. And then he just pushes Hook on top of Tom. And I'm like, Tom is so buried here. Like, I don't use that phrase lightly. He had a great match, though. I can't think. And he actually
the match was really good.
Crazy.
Finish aside, it was really good.
He completely out wrestled Yuta too. Like,
oh yeah.
both in and out of kayfabe, honestly. And Yuta's a good wrestler. Like, don't get me wrong, I'm not shitting on him, but Tom was like crazy with some of those transitions.
He did the oh my god, it was so good. Like what's it called? Wrist lock superplex thing.
Yes.
And then he held it on the ground after he. Oh man,
I thought that was it.
So hype. It was so.
So
hype.
at the end, when Yuta had all 3 rope breaks, this is what made the match so much more heartbreaking for me. When Yuta had used up all 3 of his rope breaks, and Tom had only used like 1, if any, and like Tom gets that. It wasn't really a Kimura, but you know what I mean, the arm hammerlock thingy, cranked
it's like a double wrist lock thing
in the center ring, and like Yuta's arm was bit back pretty fucking bad. I'm like I've seen enough of these pure matches and like Bloodsport matches and everything, and I'm like, bro, I bought into it. I'm like, oh, this is fucking it. Like you're not getting out of that. Like,
I thought
he did. He rolled through, and it was in a realistic way too. It wasn't like he withstood like unrealistic amount of pain. But I was like, it really felt like 2 more seconds, I would have been fucking it. And I really bit after the 3rd rope break, and then he got it back locked in again. The whole crowd did. The crowd was going nuts. Like,
I thought they were going to do a shock finish and give it to Lawler. And imagine how crazy people went.
I wish Tony would fucking do that shit more when plans go wrong. Because it's like when plans go wrong and you already have to pivot to something that wasn't your original plan, it opens up the opportunity to just go fucking wild that you don't have when you're still trying to stick to your plans.
Instead of just
you can give Tom a fucking reign and he can lose it back again soon anyway. It doesn't just for the
he lose next week
and don't spam it. Don't do it all the time, but one time every now and then. He's had the opportunity to do these things a lot since he pretty much had like this horrible injury luck, like starting like last year, and he's taken it like a couple of times, but not enough, in my opinion. There's the times when you can just do it because it doesn't matter anymore, and that's okay. Like,
hey, what's up, Jacob?
Jay coming in right at the end.
But yeah,
hey, just in time though, because we got about 4 matches left to talk about for Final Battle.
Yeah, we'll go super quick.
It's for my bad. We got 3 matches left.
Keith,
oh my god.
And Keith Lee defeating Shane Taylor. Really fun match. Not much to talk about other than it was
honestly, this was one of the weaker matches for me of the main card. I feel like, which is that says a lot. Like, you know, because it was a little slow at times. As to be expected with guys that big. The big thing was the destroyer spot, which I actually thought was like way unnecessary.
I didn't really get it.
It was so scary. It was so scary. Like watching that live, I'm like, everything broke. Bro, don't fucking crash. And also, like during the whole match, I was telling you about it in the chat, and I watched back, and like I'm pretty sure it was Keith Lee's legit mom, because like people in the crowd were like saying that, and like Shane Taylor was reacting to her at times, but on the broadcast when I watched it back, they talked about Shane Taylor's wife was there and his kids, and they showed them and he hugged them. They never mentioned this woman.
Yeah.
She was only there for that match. She didn't have a seat. She just walked like the aisleway behind the announcers back and forth, just yelling like she was a planet. Like I meant to be, even if it was a shoot mom, like she would still be a plant, obviously, if she's only
right.
Match. I was very confused the whole time because of that. That really kind of took me out of the match, honestly. Because it was never acknowledged, really. It was very weird. Like at this point, since especially watching with the broadcast, I think she was just a rogue fan.
She could have been just a rogue fan, just randomly coming up.
She kept walking, like standing right in front of the sign guy, and sign guy's like can't see.
And then he hit the big bang attack, and that was that. He won. That was it.
Yeah.
And then we had 3 more matches, one of which was gonna be like whatever there, but
the Jay Briscoe Fight to Honor match is what they called it.
Yeah,
the first portion, actually.
The second
portion.
They've actually got it as on the Fightful thing. They've got it as 2 different matches. But
I think Cage Match did too. Funny enough, but they have like the same match time and rating. Like it's rated as one match. No, they have different match times, but you like rate it as one match. Which is kind of
so
weird.
You had
that's fun to me.
The first half of the match, which was already awesome, where they were going just absolutely crazy, beating the absolute shit out of each other.
Mm-hmm.
I really like this. Who was it? I think was it Danielson that tagged in and then like got hit by Dax and then was like fuck that and like ran away and like
Yeah.
and then tagged back out.
Danielson was great this match.
It was so good. His first time back in Ring of Honor in like almost 15 years as well. I think.
Yeah, forever.
And then the second part of the match, after they got counted out, and everybody was like, "Bro, there's ain't no way they're ending this like this."
I knew they were gonna call it like or restart it like instantly, but it didn't matter. Like everyone was booing so loud.
Very effective wrestling trope right there. It worked really well. And then Tony came out, but they just Mark Briscoe took
They gave Mark Briscoe a mic, the best person to give a mic to.
Of course, you must have hit your damn fucking head. Oh, so good. And then it turned into a death match.
Yeah, basically they had tacks, they had barbed wire. Yeah. Oh my god.
Glass.
And then me and Jeff tag teamed the call of the finish.
Yeah, me and Blaze called the finish before the match started. I'm like, I'm pretty sure Danielson's gonna get pinned by Mark Briscoe because that's something Danielson would do.
I knew Mark Briscoe was getting the win with the Jade Driller for sure. And then towards the end, especially, I was like, once it all started breaking down, you could kind of tell who was pairing off with who. I'm like, oh yeah, Danielson's taking this finish.
He's just like, that guy, man. He's that guy. Of course he has to. Unbelievable match.
Yeah,
probably the match of the night.
Yeah, this was finally hit the Jake.
Honestly, go ahead, Blaze.
That was saying once he called that about Danielson at the start, I was like, hell, he probably finally hits the J Driller and wins.
Yeah.
On the chair.
That was probably one of my top ROH matches of the year, honestly. I think before, I've had like the two like double main events basically from the last pay-per-view.
Yes.
I think were
up
there. Pac and Claudio and then Willow and Athena.
Yes.
Those are probably my top two before. I don't know. This one's up there. Like I have to give that thought. But
it was really good. Unbelievable. It went long too.
Technically both matches were about 30. You add them together.
So it was just crazy, man.
And the main event went 30 minutes too, which was and that did not feel long at all until I looked at the time after, which
it went by
kind of
really
crazy.
quick.
That's how good it was. Yeah.
We can move on to the next two matches because I would just say like if you haven't seen this the fight to honor Jay Briscoe, I'd say it's a must-watch match. It's that good.
Mm-hmm. Any other year, it'd be a match of the year contender for sure. I don't know that it qualifies this year. I think we say this every podcast about some match.
You know what? I think it's one of those things for me where had Swerve and Hangman not happened, I think it would fill that niche for that specific kind of match of the year. Mm-hmm. But because we already had kind of like a death matchy match that is, in my opinion, better, I think it kind of falls down the list a little bit. But it was still must watch. 5-star match in my opinion.
Mm-hmm.
Go out and watch it. Then we had like Kingston versus Anthony Henry in a proving ground match. I have no idea why this happened. I get why
it did not need to be booked at all. But I mean, it was just to get Eddie on the card. But if the whole point was you needed Eddie on the card, you could have done this way better and way more in advance. I don't understand why it had to be this. I like Anthony Henry, so it's whatever. But
the match was good too. Like, there's nothing wrong with the match, but like this was only to show Eddie's character that he like always wants to fight, which is fine. But yeah, I mean, this card was already so stacked that it didn't need this other than it.
And it went long, the event, like the total time. It was like 4 hours, which I guess that was probably planned because it did go like right at 4 hours. But in my head, when it started, I was thinking it was only going to be a 3-hour show. So
yeah, it was a long ass show. So obviously, Eddie Kingston beat his ass. Daniel Garcia came out confronting Kingston. They're up to face each other on Collision. So it did lead to pushing that forward as well, which is fine. But there's nothing to talk about. It's Eddie whooped his ass in a physical match. That's it. Main event time. The heartbreak of ROH Tony doing this test again. Brutal.
Bro, I don't understand. Like,
yes,
why have all 3 Ring of Honor pay-per-views ended in heat? He doesn't do that often. Like, I don't get it. But all 3 of them. You only have 3 a year.
RH Tony be different, dog.
Yeah, man. He that's where he gets all his evil ideas out.
Like, I mean, thinking back now too, I don't even mind necessarily that Billy lost because I still think Willow winning was the better story overall even with the Billy Athena angle they did, where Willow didn't have like that whole angle. I still think Willow is just the better person to beat Athena. I think she was in June. I think she still is now. So that should still just happen, but I don't think it's gonna happen at this point. I think Willow is just full AEW, so I'm so lost at where they're going.
I mean, at this point, it feels like Athena's just gonna relinquish the belt.
Yeah,
because she's that dominant.
He's like, oh, I can't beat her because she's gonna go up to ROH TV, you know, or blah, blah. He's gonna have her start challenging for the AEW Women's Title before she loses it and have to do the same thing he did with Joe.
Yeah. So I did have some time to think about it. First of all, I wasn't that even upset at the time. Like I was probably one of the people who was like, I was like, yeah, whatever. Like I like Athena a lot, so I wasn't that upset. And like the more I think about it, like as awesome as Billy winning would have been, it was kind of like a 2-week build for the turn. So like, and has she really beaten enough people to like realistically beat Athena? No, not really. Logically speaking,
no.
And I'm talking with no emotions. She shouldn't have won.
That graduation angle was very rushed too, comparatively.
Yes,
you know, so it kind of makes sense that this match wasn't the end of that. You know, but yeah, it's just so weird. Like I don't actually give a fuck about like Athena winning again, but what that's just the 3 pay-per-views in a row of heat. Like I just don't get that part of it. Yeah. And I actually do think I get why he may not have thought it would have been in this case, because Athena is not only from Dallas, she's actually from Garland.
Which is she said a hometown advantage again. Yeah,
exactly. Because in my head, when they first said from Garland during your intro and said just the Dallas, I was like, oh, maybe booking her to lose here was a mistake because I'd already convinced myself she was losing. I thought the same thing. I hope it goes over well when Billy wins. Was what I was telling myself.
And that's a good point too.
That's the thing though. Like in hindsight, again, like looking back with how the match ended, bro, they fucking booed when she won. Not everyone, but the crowd had 100% went over to Billy by the end of the match.
And they were ready for Billy to win. Absolutely.
It would have been no issue. And it was actually heat when she did lose overall, at least from what so I don't really remember how it came off in the broadcast, but from what I heard, it sounded like it was a lot of boos besides like the really hardcore Athena fans there.
We can also say that like Billy was made here regardless. Like people didn't know who Billy Starks was before, they do now.
And the thing,
the match was unbelievable.
She's just turned 19 like a week or two ago, and she's that's pretty good.
I do think the match with Willow was better.
I think so too, but like slightly.
Not much. Yeah, not much. Not much. Only because
because that one was honestly one of the best women's matches I've seen, like on American soil. The Willow, I think.
Period.
I remember we were like, "How the fuck do they follow Claudio Pac?" And then they did, and we're like,
"But they did this again this pay-per-view too." Remember, we were like, "Oh, how are they going to follow up this Danielson trios match?" And then they did.
I don't remember if I said it in the chat because I was there. I was not worried though because the Willow Athena match had like proved me wrong. So already I was I don't give a fuck. It's the rightful main event. I never questioned when they said it was going to be the main event, even after they announced the trios match. That some people were like, "Oh, this should be the main event because it will be the best match." I'm like, it probably will be the best match, but it shouldn't be the main event.
No,
your best match does not always have to be the main event. There's just a balance to be had.
It has to be the biggest story, and this was the biggest story.
Yeah,
so really good pay-per-view. I don't think we'll have a chance to talk about Collision much just because like we're 2 hours already.
Yeah.
We'll just recap all that stuff next weekend. Next weekend we'll have probably we'll know the league finals. So
yes. Hold on. Look at the schedule real quick for next weekend. I may not be able to be here next weekend because of holidays actually. We'll have to check in on that.
I won't be here either, actually. So I don't know.
Okay, so not next weekend.
We
will not be here next weekend. We may be there the weekend after that. We will get back to y'all on that because I am not 100% sure. I am available I'm available on the 29th or the 30th, I think, the Saturday. So
we should do. It'd be stupid with the time difference. I was gonna say let's hook up to do a New Year's Eve show. Do an end of year one.
Maybe I'm gonna.
Hey, I could do it if you can stay up till midnight. I can stay up till 11. So that's easy.
I'm gonna be out with some friends for sure on New Year's Eve, but we'll figure it out. thanks to everybody for showing up. Thanks, Chris and Blaze, for doing the show again. Hit that like, hit that subscribe, and we'll see you
In the bell.
in a couple of weeks. Hit that bell. Hit that bell. Cheers, guys. Have a
See
good
ya.
weekend.